Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Monday night panel. We are very lucky this evening to have the assistant manager and captain of the women's team who will play at the county ground on Sunday. So then once we've finished with Rianne and Keehlan, we will move and have our normal Monday night panel with Mark Merriman, Matt Heywood and Dan Hunt. So as usual, let's bring in Vic. Hiya, Vic.
Hi, Chris. How are you this evening? You okay?
Good. I'm good. I'm not hanging around because full house today, so we want to get as much as we can in. So that's good. So
all right, Chris.
Okay. So are you ready to?
Ready to go whenever you are. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So here's Keehlan and here's Rianne. Hiya.
Hiya.
Welcome. I'm just going to leave you with Vic. As always, viewers, if you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments and we'll get through as many as we can. Okay, I'll see you later.
Chris, thanks very much indeed. Welcome along then to a very special Monday night panel because normally at this time I'd sort of be doing a bit of housekeeping and saying don't forget on the 31st of October at the County Ground in Swindon, you can watch Swindon Town WFC take on Exeter City WFC at 2 o'clock. But I don't need to because the assistant manager Keehlan, Panayiotou and Rianne Bourne-Hallett, the captain, are both with me. Good evening to both of you.
Good evening.
Hi. Rianne, first of all, I think you were all at the county ground on Saturday watching the Bradford game, weren't you? Have you played there before? Let's get that out in the open.
Yeah, I played there once before. I think it was about 2 years ago now against Poole Town, but that was the only time I've played there.
So how are you feeling about the 31st of October?
We're all excited. We can't wait. It's such a big occasion for us as a group and the whole club as well. So we're all looking forward to it.
You play in centre of midfield. What do you know about the opposition, Exeter City?
We faced them a couple of times over last season. I know that their team's changed up quite a lot over the summer, new signings. We haven't seen much of them this season, so it'll be a new challenge like it is every season.
I saw you play down at Columpton a couple of seasons back, I guess now, because of COVID, obviously. You've missed out. It may well have been actually last year. You lose track of time. You narrowly lost 2-1. Good game, though. Big crowd, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a big crowd. There was a lot of people there to watch. Unfortunately, it was the 2-1 loss, but it was a good game and we're hoping to give it a good fight as well on Sunday.
Keehlan, welcome to you. You'll be in the dugout on Sunday. That'll be quite an experience too, won't it?
Yeah, the game we had at Poole 2 years ago, unfortunately, I wasn't there because I had a coaching course that I couldn't get out of. But yeah, I think we beat Poole Town 4-3 that game. So hopefully we'll have some good memories and more to come this Sunday.
How difficult is it to get on the county ground? I mean, you normally play at Cinder Lane, don't you? So, you know, as a management team, what difference would it make to you and how difficult is it to get a game on there?
Yes, obviously we play at Fairford, which has got brilliant facilities, to be fair. It is out of Swindon, which is obviously the downside to that, and playing in Swindon is key. Obviously getting a bit of a crowd. We played at Foundation Park a few times, but yeah, the county ground is just always a different level. Playing at a Football League stadium. And to be fair, I must say thanks to all the club is in terms of Rob Angus and our vice chairman Mike Dixon, our chairman Martin Wheeler, and all the rest of the staff committee. That loads of activity goes on. We spend probably about 6 or 7 hours on the grass on AstroTurf during the week, but in the background, all those guys and girls, Laura Morgan, another one, that absolutely fight tooth and nail to try and make the best for our girls on the pitch. So. Yeah, it is difficult. And another one, obviously, Marcus Cassidy, I'm sure he's very particular about his pitch. So hopefully the girls don't do any massive slide tackles and stuff, which is looking top notch for, I think the next game after that is the Academy, have a FA Youth Cup game, I think. So, yeah, it is difficult to get the pitch. But with the new ownership and stuff, there's been meetings galore between our committee and the board about how we have further integration. And that's fantastic to see because we all do this not just for our own personal selves, but for the next generation of girls playing football in Wiltshire and Swindon, really. People like younger Rees really coming through to have an ambition and aspiration to go and play and to come on Sunday and see ordinary girls like Ree and other players in our squad should be a massive inspiration for those girls coming through.
Yeah, Rianne, tell us a little bit about your progress and how you've managed to get to be captain of the Swindon women's team, which is a great honour in itself. How have you made that progression?
I came, I think, it's 3 seasons ago now from a club in Bristol that I've stayed at since I was young. And I found it was my time to go and push on for a new challenge. I approached Swindon when Dan Jones was in charge, actually, and he took me on, enjoyed a good first season there, got into the team, starting 11, and then Jamie came in and we had a couple of games under our belts, got to know each other on and off the pitch, getting used to how I play as a player and how he manages. Our captain at the time suffered with an injury, so she stepped out, and Jamie approached me and asked if I'd lead the girls while she was out. And then about just in lockdown it was, Jamie approached me if I would be the new club captain. And to be fair, I couldn't believe it at the time. It was a massive honour. And I love doing it week in, week out. I love being the captain of this club, and I feel very lucky.
Yeah, and you'll be leading them out onto that pitch on Sunday. It won't be played on a Saturday either, will it? So at least, you'll have a fresh pitch, as it were. And it is a beautiful surface. I mean, Keehlan mentioned Marcus Cassidy, but he does do a fantastic job on that pitch, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. It looks amazing. It's going to be so good to get out there on the fresh surface and get a chance to play on a high standard ground.
Keehlan, we should say that Jamie's not here for quite a good reason, I think, tonight, isn't he? Yeah. Just explain what that is.
Yeah, so with, I think another COVID baby, to be fair. So he's currently in Salisbury Hospital with his partner, Zoe. So we wish them the best of luck. Last I've had an update, they're trying to induce her. So hopefully he's having a little girl. So another aspiration and inspiration for her going forward. So yeah. That's another. I just had a little boy 4 months ago with my wife. So yeah, lots of new kids post COVID. But I think obviously for Sunday for our girls and women players, they're some have got kids themselves, so they're going to actually come out on the ground with them. So I know Ace is looking very excited, isn't he, to come out and walk out with his mum onto that pitch.
He is. Something that we can't wait. It is my dream to walk out with my son. I walked out 2 years ago, but I don't think he walked out with me. So he's not stopped going on about it. He's counting.
How old is he?
He's 4.
Lovely. Oh, well, that'll be a great memory for him. Well, we wish Jamie and Zoe all the very best, of course, and we hope that happens over the next day or so. Does that mean he'll be there on Sunday, or will he not be? How will that work?
Yeah, I think I've had the Roy Keane chat of him saying, well, it's not you having the baby, it's Zoe. But, yeah, no. I think obviously it all depends on how the week goes. We're constantly in chats. We have teams chats most weeks. So we're happy with what we're training this week. We're in Tuesday night and Thursday night at the county ground doing gym work and some analysis stuff about the opposition. And then Sunday, when we got that pitch, yeah, okay, it's obviously brilliant for the club and that. But for my focus is when we're on that pitch, it's 11v11 on a large pitch, yeah, but it's 11v11. So whether I'm in the dugout or Jamie's in the dugout, the girls will be prepped by the training for the week before. So yeah, obviously brilliant to have him there because it's always good to have someone that you can discuss things with, tactical changes in the game. But yeah, and he's very well experienced in that sense. So it is a miss if he isn't there, but the girls will be much prepped, ready to go on Sunday.
Fantastic. I went to watch Exeter the other day, Rianne against Plymouth at St James Park. They had 1,300 there, and it was a fantastic atmosphere. Lots of schools were there. Obviously, you've mentioned children who went with their mothers to watch them play, and it was a fantastic atmosphere. What sort of crowd are you hoping for on Sunday?
We're hoping for as big as possible. We want to inspire the next generation, and we don't get many chances to play in Swindon, which is one of our main aims going forward. We want to do that weekly, but while we've got the chance, we want it to make it such a big occasion for everyone in Swindon and those in the surrounding areas. Like we've got a few players that travel from afar, so we're hoping to draw spectators in from outside of Swindon, inside of Swindon, and make it as big as we can.
Well, how would you describe the standard at the minute? Because it seems to me that it's progressing apace, Rianne. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. The women's game is changing at improving so much. Where I've played in this league for probably 5-6 years now, and it's by far the most competitive it's ever been.
How does the finances work, Keehlan? Because a lot of football clubs haven't been associated with the women's teams, have they? There's been this separation, really. It seems to me now that the men's football club are beginning to see the value of getting involved with the women's football club, if you see what I mean. So is that beginning to happen more and more now?
Yeah, so I think obviously at Fairford, I think we on average sort of gates probably 80 to 100 people. I think the COVID season, I think we had like the third highest gate that season, but that was skewed a little bit because of the pool game that we played there 2 years ago. We had, I think, about 350 people. Like I said, the women's game's moved on massively now in like 2 years. That I think Wolves in the league above us, like 600-800 go to most of their games. So the women's game is growing massively in terms of people coming to, and that's where the main source of income should come from. But yeah, obviously the sponsorships is massive for us. We are all volunteers, so grants and sponsorship is all about is really where we get our bread and butter from. But over the last few years, obviously under the old ownership, we got some help through the academy, through Seamus mainly as the academy director, and Maka supporting them. But now it's a totally different. So like I said, there's constant chats. I think, like I said, Laura Morgan's now on that advisory board. She or with the sports club. I know that's been quite a recent announcement. There's been talks with Rob and Danny Lee about how we do closer commercial deals in terms of, do we wear the same sponsor as the main club, the men's club, and therefore that is the way we go forward rather than doing our own sponsorship deals. So I think at the moment everything's on the table, and it's about how we can support them and vice versa. So, for instance, having women's games on the pitch there, that might draw in a slightly different crowd. So that for the bigger family of Swindon Town football fans is not just people that watch men's football, it's people that watch men's football, women's football, academy youth football. We've got an under 16s this year, maybe our under 16s football. So that bigger family just gets a little bit bigger, hopefully. But yeah, it's been brilliant to see. I think, I can't remember when it was. I think Clem went back in the mid-September.
Sounds about right, yeah.
Thursday night in training, we got called up to go and have a little talk upstairs, and then Rob and Clem walked in, and Clem was like, "Right, girls, this is your chance to ask me a question." And I think really you one of the few that asked the question, was like, "Look, what's the plan going forward?" And he was quite open. He wants to support us, help us get promoted, help us push on, help develop. And being an Aussie, obviously women's game is really big in Australia, so I think he sees the value, which is class. And I think that stamp just before he left, he's like, "I need to see you before I go." Yeah, it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant to see.
Yeah, I was talking to one of the joint managers of the Exeter team the other day, Rianne, and he was saying that they played Southampton, who were obviously allied to the Premiership team, and they were saying that the bus turned up and off came about 3 or 4 assistant massagists, 4 or 5 physiotherapists, and goodness knows how many other people. I mean, it really was extraordinary. And that is the gulf at the moment, isn't it, between the various levels of women's football? That, you know, the likes of Man City and Chelsea. That is, I know it is an easy thing to say, but it is a totally different league, isn't it?
It really is. And to think that Southampton were competing in our league last year, and the difference financially in that state, the Exeter manager wasn't even understating it. It really was a busload of professional staff for someone who was competing in our league. We played against it just like standard team, but the source they had from their men's club is unbelievable. It really is a very professional setup, and that's what we all drive for. That is our aim as players. We want to reach that position that they're in.
What's your goal? I mean, would you be? I mean, WSL gets a lot of coverage now, doesn't it? Sky, BBC. I mean, would you realistically look at that? Is that your? Would you aim for that?
Yeah, we want to push as high as we can. Our aim at the moment is definitely promotion into the league above. Become more of a professional outlet with our men's team. One of the points I raised with Clem is I want to wear the same kit as the men. We want to, like, if people walk past us at our ground, I want them to be able to recognise us as being Swindon Town, because at the moment, yeah, we wear the same badge, but the kit it might be a little thing for other people, but as players, we want to represent the club as same as the men. So stuff like that. Promotion is key at the moment, and then hopefully the more and more professional we get, the more we can keep pushing up the leagues.
Excellent. Well, Keehlan got great preparation on Sunday, didn't you? 8-0 win in the cup. You couldn't do a lot better than that. I know Exeter had a day off because of a postponement, but 8-0, that's a good confidence booster going into it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming for us in the FA Cup. I think 2 years ago, I think we played Bournemouth, but they were in the league below us at the time. But again, Bournemouth have come up this season. They've got players coming down from the top, so they've always been a league above they've played. Last year, I think we played Exeter. Unfortunately, I wasn't with the club last year. I moved away with the military, but since come back and got involved again. But I think on Sunday was our first FA Cup win for about 5 years, which is good. So we're into the first round proper. And as
a bit like the men's team, then, Keehlan, we could do it.
Yeah. So I think obviously, like you said, Southampton. Last year we've actually drawn in the next round of the FA Cup on the 14th of November. So we have got that battle to go against, and yet they have got a really good staff outlet, which is good because obviously the women's game, if we're honest, that Southampton team are a tier 1, tier 2 team that are going through the motions of getting promoted. They have stuff to work for it. Obviously, Ipswich in that league are really pushing them. And our role really as staff is to try and give the girls that outfit as much as possible. We create the environment for them to flourish. They bring the culture by buying into it. And Jamie's really done that. So I think when we first came in 3 seasons ago, it was me, Jamie, and James, who's our development manager. Liam Franklin, who's now left, but was working with the academy. And that's the support we got from the academy, by the way. Liam was supported as a sports therapist. We had 1 medical staff. Whereas now, 3 years later, our medical sports science team is 5 people. So we've got Mike Peacock, who's our editor at S&C, Imogen Webb, who's our sports therapist, and we're supported by 3 rehabilitation sports interns. And then some of our coaching staff, that's grown now. So I think our sports staff across both sides are about 14. Like I said, all volunteers. So that just shows that people want to get involved in the women's game to the point where people then can obviously use that as a stepping stone if need be. So I'll plug him here. Ben Wills was our social media manager, has just left and gone to Newport County. Okay. But he's got a full-time job in football because of the environment that he flourished in here. So that's what it's about for us, is creating an environment for the girls to flourish on the pitch. Yes, this season has gone as well as we expected. But like I said, next month we've got 3 teams in the bottom end of the table that we're hoping to pick up 3 points, 3 points, 3 points, and come towards Christmas. We get back up to that top of the table, and injuries are now pretty much clear and make that push on. Obviously, FA Cup, we've gone through the first round as well, which is good. And then hopefully with a big crowd on Sunday, we can go back to the people like Rob Angus and Clem and say, look, this is not sort of 200-300 people here coming in. This is us aiming, like you said, 1,300 at Exeter. I think I saw, like I said, Wolves above, I think they bring 600 to 800 people. I think even Chelsea at a Champions League game had 1,400 at their home game. So for this level to show that that's the sort of crowds you can pull, hopefully that makes the idea a bit easier for us to play there, potentially a bit more often. But obviously, Marcus Cassidy, we will look after your pitch, don't worry. But there is a balance there. But there is definitely closer ties with the club in total, which hasn't been in every year gone past. So that's a really great position to be in, and we do thank the governors and the board and chairman for that, Clem and Rob Angus and Matt Wars and everyone else in the background that's been supporting that, because that's been class.
Great. Well, I wish you both very well for Sunday. I'm looking forward to it very much. And, as I say, Exeter did very well against Plymouth. It was a penalty shootout. It was a cup match and a perfect result for them, of course, because they knocked the Pilgrims out of the Devon Cup. So they were delighted. But we're looking forward to it very much indeed. And I really wish you all the very best for Sunday.
I just want to say thank you very much to the Supporters Club as well, because I believe you're running some stuff in the Legends Lounge for like making a bit of a Families Day. So I think it's face painting and a bit of a Halloween theme. So if you've got children, bring them along, because kids come in free. If you're a Supporters Club member, you have free access. If you're a men's season ticket holder, you have free access as well. You just got to bring like a season ticket or show that you've got a ticket. So absolutely, the more the merrier. And absolutely screaming at my centre midfielder to go and get another assist and goal on Sunday, please.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. Good luck on Sunday. We'll be there. The Halloween theme, by the way, is me turning up to do the pitch side announcing. So good luck with that. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Yeah. Good luck. Thanks very much for coming on, guys. And we'll be there on Sunday. And as Keehlan said, in the Legends Lounge from 12:30, there'll be activities for the children. As Keehlan said, face painting, tattoos, arts and crafts, and a bit of a quiz as well. So something to keep the kids amused as well. So brilliant.
Oh, my child will be there.
Look forward to it.
Very much.
Brilliant. Thanks ever so much and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Yeah, just to reiterate those prizes, it's the 2 o'clock kickoff. It's £3 for adult. Under 16s are free. You can pay on the day. Supporters Club members are free, I think, and Keehlan just said season ticket holders are free. So let's make it a bumper crowd because they deserve it. And it is a really good afternoon's football. So 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon.
Brilliant. And it's lovely to have them on. It's we'll have to do that more often, get somebody on every so often. So it's brilliant.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to Saturday now. So let's bring on Matt, bring on Dan and Mark. There we go. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. I don't know what's happening with my sound. I'm going to leave and come back.
Okie doke, Matt. Yeah, you come back to us very shortly then. And
okay, Matt. Okay, I will leave you. And again, any questions, please leave them on the messenger. Thank you.
Chris, thanks very much indeed. Dan and Mark, hello to you. We'll say hello to Matt again very shortly.
Hello. Hello, Dan.
Yeah, as I said, I didn't go on Saturday. I was hosting an Ivan Major celebration evening in Exeter, so I couldn't quite make it. But I did watch the game. You can't hear a thing. Matt can't hear us, so we'll get back to him as soon as possible. I did watch the game this afternoon, and it seemed to me that Bradford City came with a game plan, Dan, stuck with it, stuck in their shape at the back. Swindon passed themselves into a blind alley, couldn't break it down.
I think you've summed it up quite well, Vic. Yeah. I mean, whilst Bradford did come with a plan, full credit to them, they executed it well. So when Swindon were in possession, they sat very deep, almost, all 11 players in their own half, made it really difficult for Swindon to pass through them. Hello again, Matt. And I think the pre-match change of formation for Swindon, which I believe Ben Garner acknowledged post-match that he did to try and match up Bradford. I think by a twist of fate, Bradford had changed their own formation to try and match up against Swindon's 3-5-2 from the previous weeks. And so, through that twist of fate and our own change of formation, we just seem to be right out of kilter. And the choice of fullbacks, Odemeo, obviously naturally a centre-half playing right back, and Rob Hunt, who's arguably our most defensive natural fullback. That's where a lot of the space was down the flanks, and we didn't really exploit it. And I think in the centre of the pitch, you had a lot of talented footballers in Gladwin, Payne, and Williams, and Reed too, just slightly tripping over each other, and just there was no flow, there was no fluency, and the worst thing we could do was go behind, and we did.
Yeah, Mark, I have to say, I mean, the Bradford keeper seemed remarkably untroubled to me. I can't remember too many efforts that he had to turn away. And, for a home game, we will discuss home form in a minute because I think we have to. But for a home game, that's disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah, we didn't trouble the keeper until I think it was Lewis Reed's free kick just before half-time, wasn't it? He sort of beat it away. And that was the closest we got to their goal in the whole of the first half. And I echo what Dan said. I think wily old fox Derek Adams did a number on our manager, to be quite frank. He set us up wrongly. I've not been critical of Ben Garner very often this season because he's done a fantastic job, especially given the circumstances. But I have to say that on Saturday, I feel he got it wrong. I feel he got it wrong with the formation that he chose, and I understand that he was surprised by Bradford's formation, but also square pegs in round holes. Rob Hunt being one example, who always wants to come back on his right foot. Any momentum we had going forward was therefore stymied. The same with Odemeo on the right-hand side. And it just meant we were passing the ball in front of Bradford for the entire first half. It was far too slow. I know you want to get on to talk about home form, Vic, in a few minutes. But for me, we've got to try and sort that out because elsewhere, away, for example, we're doing fantastically. But the home form gives cause for concern with 1 win out of 7 games. 6-21, doesn't it?
I deliberately listened to the away commentary, actually, just on the iFollow repeat, just to see what their view of it was. And they used that very expression that he'd done a number on Swindon. Absolutely use that expression. And it seemed to me, Dan, Matt's having problems, which is a shame really, because I wanted to ask him from a defender's perspective. It seemed to me that Bradford kept a perfect shape and they just let Swindon play in front of them, and they were quite happy to do that. They kept the shape, very compact, and were able to deal whatever Swindon brought to them, because 9 times out of 10, the ball was played over the top and, nothing happened.
Yeah, I think now this is going to sound slightly odd because it isn't entirely logical, but in the previous weeks, by having the extra defender and having the sort of back three, across the width of the box, I think we used the ball much more intelligently over the last 5 or 6 games for having that extra defender. And Dion Conroy in particular, who's been a big miss, he's a very smart user of the ball. And I think that helps suck teams on to us. And it also keeps Louis Reed a bit higher up the pitch. I think the formation had a slightly detrimental effect on Louis Reed's output in central midfield. He was having to come deeper and deeper to come and get the ball off the centre halves. And really Bradford, against the threat of Simpson and McCurdy up front, and then the sort of pretty attacking midfielders occupying the centre of the pitch, it was quite easy to clog Swindon up. Whereas what it was screaming out for, if we had to play that formation, I think it really needed Kessler Hayden and Ellis Iandolo as our 2 most attacking fullbacks to give us that thrust down the flanks where the space was. And you could argue Ben Garner was a bit slow to remedy that, and the Kessler Hayden substitution did come at half time, but arguably the damage was kind of done at 2-0.
Matt, are you with us?
I am. Apologies for that. Literal gremlins in the system. I had to switch it off and switch it on again. So for 20 minutes, I've just been listening to you talk in slow motion like a robot. So I haven't heard a word. I had to switch my phone off and back on again, and here we are. So apologies for that.
I've made a whole career out of that, Matt. So thank you very much for the observation. I was going to say to you as a defender, watching Bradford's shape on Saturday, and as I said just now to Dan and Mark, I deliberately listened to the away commentary just to see what they were making of it. And they describe it as an almost perfect away performance. And Derek Adams, it seemed to me, had got them in a shape, very compact. And as a defender, you'd be very happy to deal with people who were just passing the ball in front of you. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, from a defender's point of view, you go away against a team that play, good possession football, that are in good form, and you give up 73% possession and win the game 3-1. Happy days, you're just shuffling across, clearing your lines, let them have it again, just like shuffle, up you come, back you drop, and it, to do that as a defender, you sort of get in that routine, and it is, it's hard to break down. They probably play, do attack via defence in training all week, so you're used to doing those drills against maybe, an extra man on the attacking side, and from what I saw, they played it really well.
Yeah, I mean, it. From what you see, Matt, did they look uncomfortable at any stage? They didn't to me.
No, I don't think so. I think later on in the game, perhaps there were a couple of chances, but it was all, it was gone by then. On the flip side, if you have 73% possession, I know, possession doesn't necessarily mean chances or whatever, and to lose 3-1, it shows a lack of concentration to me. From the lads at the back, if you've got that much of the ball, and you're not switched on, and certainly to concede the first 2 goals, well, I mean, all 3 goals were poor, really, but definitely shows a lack of concentration, I'd say.
Yeah, the first one, long throw into the box, flicked on, and then the goal went in. The second one was a bit of a mess, and the third one, of course, somebody that we used to have came back to haunt us, Dan, in the shape of Theo Robinson. That was a heck of a strike. I mean, I looked at it, and there were appeals for offside, but there was, I think it was Odemayo who might well have been playing him on, but it was a tremendous strike, and by then 3-0, it's over, isn't it?
Yeah. So taking those things in order, Theo Robinson has a really happy knack of scoring against Swindon Town of late. I think that's 5 in his last 3 games against us. for Colchester and now Bradford City. To come off the bench cold and have that as your first and second touch, curling it into, I mean, just unstoppable. There's absolutely nothing Wallacott could do about that. The Odemeo one was interesting. After clearing the first header away, I think his momentum just took him obviously deeper in the pitch and off the pitch. And I saw quite a few people querying this week about the merits of the offside law, and having visited that. And if anyone wants to look it up, I think it's Law 11A, offside infringements. And Odemeo was very much active despite leaving the pitch for a second or two, which played Robinson onside. I think Baudry and Hunt gamely protested to the linesman and the referee, but that was purely out of desperation, I think.
Right, let's give you one or two comments. This from Anthony. It was a bad day at the office. We move on and focus on Oldham, brackets, which is very winnable, close brackets. From Mark, did the Town players get any closer than 18 yards in the first half? It all went wrong. Bradford played 5 at the back and did their homework on us. Right, this from Paul, teams are going to come here, rough us up and sit deep. We have to adapt to this if the home results are to improve. And that really is a worry, isn't it, Mark? Because, teams obviously work out that Swindon are a passing team, works brilliantly away from home, but at home, you sit deep and then you can work on the break. I mean, is that going to happen for the rest of the season? It's happened most of the season already, hasn't it? Let's be fair.
I think it will. I don't just think it'll be Bradford that sit deep and have, one bank of 5 and a bank of 4 in front with hardly any space in between. I think you'll find that pretty much every away team will do exactly the same. So it's down to Swindon Town and the management particularly to find ways of breaking them down, and passing the ball at a snail's pace in front of them is not one way of doing it, and neither is conceding poor goals. So what they've got to do, I think, is have some width, get round the back. Once or twice at the end of the game on Saturday, Mitchell Lawson came on, you might remember, and had a good run and cross from McCurdy to head it, and the keeper made a decent save. But other than that, I can't recall us getting around the back of them at all. And Matt will know as a defender, you can pass the ball in front of them all day long, as he's referred to earlier on, and it's dead easy. You can do that pretty much at every level. So I am a bit concerned, because I think we all want Swindon Town to play in the way they do, which is keeping the ball and possession-based football. But at the same time, I don't necessarily see anything wrong in the first 10 minutes of games to maybe turn a side around, play the ball a little bit longer to start with, rather than pedestrian passing. That also has a detrimental effect on the crowd.
It does.
The crowd has gone to sleep because there isn't much to get enthused about for the first 10 or 15 minutes. The atmosphere then falls flat. And of course, that plays into the opposition's hands as well.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it, Matt? Because the one thing you want in a home game is for the crowd to be up for it. But then you would know as a player, you've got to give them something to get up for, haven't you? And whilst it's nice to see lots of possession football with 70-odd percent possession, football's about excitement as well. You want something to get your blood stirred, don't you, on a Saturday afternoon?
Well, it is. I mean, and I know the game's changed, in the last 10 or 20 years, but the first 10 minutes, everyone still love to see a tackle or, a bit of something happen just to get the fans going. And then sort of, you get them going, they get you going. And it is, I mean, the crowd, 9,000 plus again for League Two, it's a massive crowd. So it's, I do find it strange that the results aren't quite there at home, because, normally in that situation, it's when teams are struggling and the pressure's on, that it's sometimes harder to play at home. But, you're coming off the back of a great result midweek. You're in good form. You're third in the league going into the game, and you think there's 9,000 there again. Get off to a fast start, put them under pressure, and then you could go on to win the game easily. But obviously, it didn't turn out like that. Bradford score, and then from then on, it was, it never looked likely for Swindon.
What effect does it have from the side? I mean, who's it up to sort of make the change in terms of playing style? Say, if you're playing one way, is it up to the manager to say, right, I'm going to change this, I'm going to take this player off, put that one on? Is that how it works?
Yeah, I mean, it's the manager's decision, and unless you've got, a team full of really experienced players who've been there and done it and can, feel something on the pitch that needs changing. But, that's the way the manager wants to play. I think in hindsight, Bradford went to match Swindon, Swindon went to match Bradford, and it basically cost Swindon the width that they needed in the end, where I think, like Dan was saying, the two fullbacks are more defensive minded, so they're not going to bomb on from a back four, and the four lads in the middle are all tidy footballers, but none of them really have got that sort of pace out wide to sort of stretch a defence that's sort of sitting back in there.
The one thing that worries me, Dan, is as we've mentioned, big crowds, 8,000, 9,000. But it's important you win your home games, isn't it? I mean, there are a lot, there are a few of us who go home and away, and we watch Swindon away, and it's great at the minute because you're seeing lots of great results. But your bread and butter is what you do at the county ground, isn't it? And really what you want to do is keep those bums on those seats, don't you?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. You get a very loyal, hardcore of fans away from home who've been treated to some magnificent performances and results this year. Let's remind ourselves, we've had, I think, 17 points on the road, which is only matched by Forest Green, I think. But in reverse, if we had any sort of home form, then we would be sat at the top of the table with Forest Green, probably on something like 30 points. So the 6 points from 7 games at home is undoubtedly a problem. I think it's something that the fans have been speaking about quite a lot. And I think on Saturday, you've probably seen an element of it come into the front of Bengana's mind with what was, in hindsight, an unnecessary formation change, given that we'd played 3-5-2 successfully in the previous 6 games, I think it was. Maybe we got a little bit spooked by the home Rochdale draw. But actually, if you look back at that game, it was 2 bad goals to concede where mistakes were made. So, the poor Critchlow pass out of defence that was intercepted, and 5 seconds later is in the goal. And then goal 2, where 3 of the players had an opportunity to, win the ball or close it down on the edge of the box. None of them did. They all left it for each other, and Liam Kelly smashed home. So actually, maybe whilst the results haven't been marvellous in the last couple of home games, the actual method hasn't been quite as bad as the results suggest. But I should think we will see a return to 3-5-2 in the next couple of games. We've got obviously 2 away games to come at Oldham and then Crewe in the Cup before we come home again against Newport in the Cup, which will be a very changed team, of course, and then home to Crawley. So, yeah, I can't put my finger on it exactly. I would like to ask Matt one question, actually, as an ex-professional from a fan. Put yourself in the Bradford defenders' shoes on Saturday, and obviously they nullified Swindon really well. What could Swindon have done against that sort of deep lying Bradford side to really give them problems that we didn't do?
Well, you need to move the ball really quick for a start, and you need width, because you've got Simpson up there, and for as much from what I've seen, he looks like he's got the physical presence, but he doesn't quite use it yet. He's a baby. He's 19. I'm just thinking back to when I was 19. You play some games against, sort of hairy-ass men that have played 200 league games, and you do get bullied. He's only a kid. He'll grow into that. So, if the ball's not sort of sticking up there with him against sort of 3 big defenders, then you need to get the ball wide. And Swindon didn't do that. They've got a nice little diamond in there. Everyone's comfortable on the ball. But, I mean, the biggest thing, if you've got 73% possession, scoring a goal is the hardest thing to do, but just don't concede. You've got the ball, so you're only having to defend for 27% of the time. So you've just got to stay switched on, and I think that was the biggest problem from the game at the weekend. If you come away and you've had all the ball, you've knocked on the door, but you didn't nick a goal, 0-0, move on.
Well,
really poor goals.
Lots of comments coming in. This is from Derek. Hi, Derek. Another one comes in just as I was about to read it. I feel that we are far too pedestrian at times when in possession. I'm fed up with the stats that we had 73% possession. But if that had broken down further, how much possession was in our own half? The game's all about scoring goals, as Bradford proved. Mark, Tyree Simpson. This is from Joe. What's it going to take for Simpson to be dropped? My view is he gets a lot of unnecessary stick because Matt was just mentioning, he's a 19-year-old kid in his first real season of men's football, playing up front on his own in League Two.
Yeah.
Tough old gig. He's not going to get 20, 30 goals, is he?
No. I guess the Joe is my son, Joe.
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm surprised if it wasn't. He and I and my lads have spoken about Tyree Simpson a lot. And I know in some ways the jury's out, but I would go back to the fact that we've signed a 19-year-old player, as Matt's referred to, who's learning the trade. And he's playing against, to quote Matt, big, hairy-ass defenders. And, frankly, he's still in their pocket from Saturday because he probably had his quietest game. I don't blame him because I think 6 or 7 of the players were off their game. And that's part of the reason why we lost. But I certainly wouldn't slate him. He scored 4 goals. He's done okay. He needs some support, without a doubt. I'd be disappointed if we didn't sign another striker, at least one other striker in the window, because he needs support. I think to expect a 19-year-old lad to play 46 league games is just not on. It's not going to happen. Maybe he needs a bit of a rest. Mitchell Lawson has done enough for me in the times that I've seen him to warrant a place, perhaps. Perhaps he could start on Saturday or maybe in the Cup against Crewe and see how we go. Got a bit of pace, got a bit about him, I think. So maybe give young Tyrese a rest. But I'm certainly not going to slate him because I asked myself, despite the fact that those players were well beaten on Saturday, and they were well beaten, did anybody not put a shift in? Did anybody not try? No, it wasn't the case. They just out-thought and out-muscled on the day, really.
Yeah, this from Jason. The atmosphere is flat at home, completely different at an away game. From Gordon, there's no point in all that possession when it's all in your own half. From David, when you get these young lone players in, they're usually younger and still need to put on some muscle. We want players a bit bigger and 6 foot plus. And from Pete, Bradford showed us very simply on Saturday, get the ball in and around the penalty area and you will get chances. And a comment which simply says, yes, it is. I'm not sure what that means, but yes, it is. We'll go with that one. Matt, so let's move on then. We're away at Oldham on Saturday. Clearly a winnable game. They've been struggling all season. They've got all sorts of problems on and off the pitch. What does Ben Garner say to lift players after Saturday? Do they need lifting after Saturday? How does it work in a dressing room?
Well, ordinarily you'd say that they might do, but on the flip side, after coming off the Sutton game, you'd think you'd go into Saturday's game absolutely flying. So, I mean, I don't know. There's obviously a bit of a mindset there where they look at the two, away games and home games as sort of different animals. And I would fully expect them to go there, maybe revert back to the 3, play like they have been playing away from home. And I would expect them to go there and win the way that Oldham have been playing this season. So I don't think you need to say too much at all, really.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, I can't say it's a crisis. There might well be. You might have noticed over the last couple of days, another team got beat at home rather badly, did they not, in the Premier League? So I don't think we're at that proportion, really, although, 7th place in the Premier League. Hey, is that a crisis? So it happens, Matt, doesn't it? It happens. Simple as that. Yeah,
of course it does. I mean, in general, the form's been good. They're still, not quite on it at home, but the away form's good. So, the routine of travelling up for the game, it was, they're in that sort of routine, have their pre-match in the hotel, train, do whatever. They're obviously comfortable with that, and it's suited them well so far this season. So I expect them to go up there and win. Yeah,
good on you. Yes, it is, by the way. It was Mark's son, Joe, who sent that comment in, so you were correct. This from Liam. 2 of our home defeats, Port Vale and Bradford, were pre-season favourites. Interesting, isn't it, Dan, that, pre-season we were all talking about, let's just stay up above the dotted line. Now, of course, we're worried because we get beaten at home. But you did a comparison, didn't you, between home and away form over the last 4 seasons in League Two, and it makes interesting reading, doesn't it? And I was just thinking today, if you think back 12 months to our horror season, we'd already had a couple of home wins by now. We've only had 1, I think, so far. So it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, so just on that home and away point, I think with the defeat against Bradford, the scales will have tipped now. So in our last 4 seasons in the 4th tier, which obviously includes the Richie Wellens promotion season, when our home form was dynamite, we actually averaged more points per game away from home over those 4 seasons than we do at home I think it's something like 1.56 points per game at home, and it'll be about 1.57, 1.58 points per game away from home. So over a long period of time, this is, it's gone from trend to habit. So maybe there is something more culturally going on at Swindon Town. I'm not sure, but more generally, I don't think we need to overreact as a fan base. It's our first defeat since the 11th of September. And in that period, we've played really well and even won a cup game. I'm sure the home form will turn. And I think once we get that first win at home again, I think they'll come like buses. We'll get 2 or 3 more. So, yeah, the key thing is not to panic. And also to what you chaps were saying earlier about young Tyrese Simpson, and I think Romney Critchlow also got a bit of stick for Saturday. These are young guys learning their trade. I also think that Sutton game on Tuesday was such a monumental effort against a really physical side, and that I think that took a lot out of the Swindon players, more than you think, because that was a very flat performance against Bradford on Saturday. So with a clear week, hopefully we can go away and find some away comforts at Boundary Park.
Yeah, Critchlow, I think, has been terrific as far as I'm concerned, Mark. He's been one of the highlights of the season, hasn't he? So it is easy to have a go at young players, isn't it? But as Matt was saying, these people are human. They're not machines, are they?
Well, I think I said when I last came on, Vic, didn't I, about Ben Gladwin? And people were enjoying slating Ben Gladwin. And then what did he do afterwards? He scored a penalty against Bristol Rovers. He set up the first goal against Forest Green. He provided the cross against Rochdale and also scored that excellent goal. So leave these players alone. They're absolutely fine. And Dan's absolutely right. Don't overreact. Yes, it was a flat performance. It wasn't a great performance, but we are 6th in the table, for goodness sake. From us sitting round here, 3-4 months ago and saying, are we going to have a team? Are we even going to have any players? And look at where we are now. So I think, I take my hat off to Ben Garner. And I must say this before, anybody says, oh, he's being really negative. I just felt negative after the Saturday game. But overall, the way performances particularly have been nothing short of brilliant. So I think every credit to Ben Garner and his team, the players, for the way they've really knuckled down. But I think what we all want, we want some decent home wins. And hopefully with 3 of the 4 games coming up, I think in November, being at home in the league, that's the time to do it, isn't it, really? To get, at least a couple of wins out of the 3 games, or maybe even 7 points out of 9 or something. That would be really good. It
coincides with another international weekend, of course, which throws its own little problems into
it didn't seem to be a problem, did it, last time? We seemed to manage it quite well, really.
I don't think anybody was calling for a sort of a retrospective postponement of the Forest Green game afterwards. No. This is from Craig. Matt, are we in sports psychology territory with a different mindset away from home? Goes back to what you were saying earlier. Can we send the players to a hotel on a Friday night? It's what Lou Macari would have done. I mean, I don't know. Does sports psychology make a difference? If somebody comes to you and say, look, let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's not a major crisis, for goodness sake. But is there a problem? Can you get over that problem with a bit of psychology at home?
I mean, you can do. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a sports psychologist that, visits the club every now and then. I mean, I know, it is massive now in professional sport. Like I said, I just find it strange because normally it's when a team's struggling that it's harder to play at home because, you feel that pressure more. The fans are on your back. But when you've got, 9,000 there all cheering you on and you're in good form, regardless of home and away, I find it a bit strange. But perhaps, maybe they are sort of trying things in training to sort of replicate more of an away game. I don't know. There are little things you can do. But I think, like Dan said before, I think, they'll get a win. And, another one will follow. And I don't think it'll be a season-long thing where it has done in previous struggles. I think they'll get a couple of results and kick on from there.
This is from Joe. My concern with not winning at home is the impact it will have on support. The crowds have been superb, but will drop off if we don't start picking up wins at home. We are getting closer to that thing beginning with C, aren't we? That always has an effect on attendances as well. Doesn't it? So we'll see. This from Steve, Dan. Interesting question. Why isn't Grant playing?
I think you'd have to ask Ben Garner that
Garner.
one.
If somebody from the club would come on, we'd love to ask them, but they aren't. Anyway.
But no, I think clearly after playing most of the games in the first 5 or 6 games of the season, Grant went away to play for Jamaica, came back, and if we're to take Ben Garner at his word, he took a little bit of time to get back up to speed in training. There was also a quarantine period, which was quite disruptive. I suppose, green shoots. Grant has been back on the bench the last couple of games. And in a funny way, and again, this sounds slightly illogical, Grant could actually be a bigger player for us at home, where a few sides now, Port Vale and Bradford, have, kind of out-muscled us and dug in and made things really tricky for Town. So maybe we are missing that bit of extra experience, bit of extra calmness, bit of extra physicality, whereas away, the formula seems to be spot on with Louis Reed as that deep line playmaker. So, I certainly wouldn't be averse to Anthony Grant coming back in. I think the Jamaica games are handy because they're at least keeping him fit. But yeah, I suspect maybe a little bit of a clash of minds behind the scenes between Garner and Grant. Grant, rightly or wrongly, has fallen out with several managers over his career at Shrewsbury and then John Sheridan, albeit, good on you, Granty, because who'd want to work for John Sheridan? But who knows? I don't know. I'm speculating.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Let's have a look. This is from Jason. Can we just condemn the EFL and play all games away from home? I think that might work, but financially it'd be a bit of a disaster, wouldn't it, really?
Swindon Wanderers.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know, Mark. I mean, it is one of those things, isn't it? And we mustn't let it get too much, really, because the fact of the matter is, whether you believe in psychology or not, it will start players, impacting on players' minds, won't it? This home thing, and the anxiety of the crowd spreads to the pitch, all that kind of stuff.
Potentially, I mean, it is quite interesting actually. I know Dan likes his stats, and I looked at something last Tuesday, and there were 12 League Two fixtures last Tuesday, and of those 12 League Two fixtures, there was one home win. So I think sides are finding it quite difficult to break down mass defences, aren't they? Perhaps in the lower leagues where maybe the finishing isn't quite as good as it is in League One and the Championship. Maybe sides don't quite have the nous or the guile to break down, packed defences. But we need to turn it around, I think, and Ben Garner needs to find a way of, getting through those defences. And like Matt was saying, it's not by slow passing, and width, I think, is a real key. I was quite surprised on Saturday that he ended up with Jack Payne playing wide on the left. And Jack Payne's no winger. He's no wing back either. Good player though he is. And that was where Ellis Andler was crying out for him, for me, to get round the back of people and have a go in the same way that Kessler Hayden was doing quite successfully on the right. So it's a bit of a surprise. I think Ben Garner's an honest chap. I think he's an intelligent fellow, strikes me. I think he might look at it in hindsight and think, well, actually, I got that one wrong.
From Steve, we missed Conroy. Payne was too peripheral. This from Kevin. Nothing against Rob Hunt, but why do we keep playing him at left back when he does not have a left foot? Matt, Dion Conroy's been out for the last 2 games. He did get injured against Rochdale, which may or may not have contributed to the fact they conceded soft goals there. Having your captain out is a big miss, isn't it? And particularly somebody who's comfortable on the ball as Dion Conroy. Yeah,
I was going to say that. I think, more than anything, it's that he is so good on the ball. And he can hit that longer pass as well, the diagonal, which obviously gets you up the field quicker. And perhaps on Saturday, that could have stretched Bradford a little bit more. But yeah, like you said, to have your captain missing, is a struggle. I don't know how long he's forecast to be out for. Do you know that?
He might be back this week. I don't know. I mean,
he might be.
Yeah,
I think so. And I think he just plays that role in the middle of the back three really well. And the other 2 centre backs can get wide and then or sort of break wide and push the 2 wing backs on, which sort of stretches the pitch. It means it's not so easy for the opposition defenders just to sit in and keep tight.
Yeah, and he also can hit a great long ball as well, can't he? This is from Boo on Twitter. Hi, Vic. Garner said in his post-match he wouldn't change anything at home. What's your take on that? We're now gathering a great fan base. Is this the right message to encourage more to come? Because I can see it driving them away, in my opinion. Now then, this is what I was going to get onto as well today. This from Andrew. The turnstile problem remains at the Arkles. That and an indifferent home form may dissuade the fabulous turnout. Now, this is getting interesting, Dan, isn't it? Because, we've mentioned Forest Green and the problems there with people getting in. But there are also problems with people getting in Swindon, aren't there? There are huge queues now at the Arkles. I don't know about the Don Rogers because obviously I'm not on that side. But I understand there are queues there as well. And people aren't getting in until 10, 15 minutes after kickoff. So that's a big problem, isn't it?
It is. I think the reversion to digital ticketing, purchasing tickets and having it on your phone, that works, right? What doesn't seem to be working, and I'm sure the club, have had plenty of feedback about this and are looking to fix it. And if they're not, they should be ASAP. It's the scanners at the turnstile. Whenever I try and put my phone under to actually scan the QR code, I've never once successfully scanned it. So you end up with the person in the yellow jacket still, manually looking at the ticket, and it seems to be slowing people up. So it can't be beyond the wit of man, because other clubs have successful, ticket scanning technology. So that is something I'd like to see nipped in the bud fairly quickly, because at the very least on the Don Rogers side, we've got a lovely patch of grass towards Shrivenham Road to queue on, but once that gets into deeper, darker winter, that could become a bit of a mud bath. You might need to wear your wellies to the county ground. The Arkle side, it's obviously slightly more pressing because you're cooped in by the cricket club fencing. So victim of our own success, I suppose, a little bit. The crowds have been fantastic. The initiatives to get people back in have been superb. The town are really backing the club. I think the number of local businesses who are getting on board with the club's also been magnificent. So, it's just another crease to iron out. And I know there's good people there. Rob Angus will be fully aware for the amount of feedback I've seen online as well. So, we got a little bit of a gap now until that Crawley game on the 13th of November, if it goes ahead with the internationals. So, one to watch on that regard.
Yeah, this says this from Ian. Perhaps fans should try to arrive earlier if they can. Yeah. This from Pete. I've been selling matchday draw tickets outside the Don Rogers from 2:00 for the last two games. Nobody arrives until 2:30, and then there are massive queues, which I think, Mark, is a fair point, isn't it? The club are repeatedly saying, get there as early as you can.
We're not Forest Green, are we? With the greatest respect. I mean, you go into Forest Green and having two turnstiles open for over 1,000 fans was an absolute shocker. And those people were getting in at 12:15, and 20 minutes after kickoff. And we're dealing here with a club which, as Dan rightly says, is in some ways a victim of its own success. I mean, I don't think any of us could have envisaged the crowds would have been nearly 9,000 on average. That's absolutely fantastic for League Two. But at the same time, there is part of me which thinks, I've managed to get in the ground every single time on time. Just get a bit earlier. It would help if there are going to be big queues outside. Just arrive 10 or 15 minutes earlier. It's not possible for everyone, I guess, because some may be working on Saturday morning. I understand that. But if you can get there a bit earlier, it would negate the rest of the problems, I think.
Derek says, whilst not all supporters are guilty of this, many turn up with 10 minutes to kick off and expect to just walk in. I think the answer is to get to the ground earlier. So there we are. Points on view, both sides. This from Dave. This is something that's worrying him, and I think still hanging in the balance. We only got a couple of minutes left, but I just wanted to get this included. The court case, it's just a Swindon Town thing with me, and maybe you too. I think when it seems everything is rosy in our Swindon Town garden, there always seems to be a cloud hovering somewhere. The court case has not been mentioned. Hopefully that's a good thing. It's just a niggling headache of mine, points deduction, etc., etc. Again, hopefully I'm worrying about nothing. Also, I can't understand why you can't get any of the players on the show. Go figure. Well, we got an ex-player here, Matt. I mean, there is the court case in the background. I don't know anymore. I'm sure Dan doesn't know anymore. Mark doesn't know anymore. But you do.
Only to say, I'd seen a a post by James Spencer, who's on the trust board on the Town End Forum, to say the case that was supposed to happen in September has been deferred until it's quite deep into 2022. So
May and down or something.
May, right? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Well, yeah. So it's gone quiet for a reason on that front, I think.
Okay, fair enough. This is from James. James has sent me a message. Actually, court case has been delayed until mid-2022, so that clears that one up. Yeah, very good. It works, you see. You mention it and it happens. This is from James. Rob Angus is more than aware, and this is also from James, they're more than aware of trying to solve the turnstile problem as soon as possible. It comes down to aging turnstiles that keep breaking due to underinvestment over the years. There you are. That's an answer to that, and hopefully that will be solved in the next 2 to 3 weeks or so. So then let's turn to this weekend, Matt. I think you were very positive, weren't you, about our trip to Oldham, the coldest place in the history of the planet. What do you expect Saturday?
I think it'll be a 2-0 Swindon win.
Very good. And would that put to bed? He doesn't put to bed the home stuff, though, does it? That is the problem.
Well, I mean, it's because you keep going on about it, Vic.
Sorry.
Keep coming. I think that, the worry about, if the home form doesn't pick up and, reduced attendances. If Swindon go and win on Saturday, they're back up to 3rd or 4th in the league. Fans, you forget the last home game. It's where, you're 3rd and 4th in the league. Let's go down to the county ground and watch. It doesn't matter where you get the points from as long as you get them. And if, ideally you'd prefer to get more results at home. But like I say, if they go up there and win, move back up the table, fans look at the table and go, oh, there we are again. Let's go down to the county ground and watch against Crawley or whatever it is. So, I wouldn't worry too much about it. The home wins will come.
I feel suitably punished, Matt. Thank you very much, Steve, for that. Dan, your view on Saturday?
Well, I think, touch wood, Dion Conroy comes back into the centre of the back three. I think Garner's got a difficult decision to make. I think he needs to pick 2 of 3 from Gladwin, Payne and Williams, however difficult that might be. It's a fine player to have on the bench anyway, whoever gets left out. And I agree with Matt. I think it's kind of the perfect game, really. It's away. It's against a struggling side. They have had a couple of okay results recently. Seem to have rediscovered their goal-scoring touch. They've got an ex-Swindon trialist called Dylan Bahambula, who I think is quite an eye-catching midfielder, very skillful. So we'll have to watch out for him. But no, I'm hoping there'll be a nice big following behind the goal as well. It's the first away game for a long while where the allocation far exceeds the number of fans we'll take. So hopefully we can take something approaching 1,000 people up there. Everyone can have a jolly good day. Enjoy the pies because they're excellent in Oldham. I've had a few of them in my time.
Yeah, I've had quite a few too. This is from Anthony. Assuming we get 3 players called up, would the panel postpone the Crawley game? Maybe we'll discuss that next time. But briefly, Mark, would you or not?
That's a tough one, isn't it, really? Given what we've seen before when we didn't postpone, I think I'd probably prefer to carry on. What we don't want is a pile-up of fixtures, do we, if possible? So I think carry on. Okay.
And your thoughts on Saturday?
I think it's a tough game. Because they're fighting. I'm going to go for a 1 each draw. And then what's going to happen? We're going to go back to the county ground and we're going to win all our home games.
Brilliant. That's positive stuff. Well done.
Yeah.
And don't forget, of course, Sunday at 2:00, you can go watch Swindon Women against Exeter City Women. £3 for adults, free for OSC members, Official Supporters Club. And there's plenty of activities going on in the Legends as well. And just to say that the SAS are open for bookings for not only Oldham this coming Saturday, but also to Crewe for the FA Cup match, which I think is the 6th now, confirmed on the Saturday, 6 at 3:00. So SAS are taking bookings for both those games, 7 till 8 tomorrow in their office behind the town end at the county ground. And you can also reach them on Twitter at SAS_travel or email sastravel@sky.com. All the details are on the Official Supporters Club website. And this has just come in from Steve, and I think it's fair to say, we should say, a very happy birthday to Sir Donald Rogers, whose birthday it is today. And this is a request from our editor who says, maybe Dan can lead us in the singing of the Happy Birthday song and also the Ellis Iandolo song, who Matt Heywood has given approval to and says we should carry on singing that. And indeed, Dan should sing it tonight. So do you want to do it?
I'll happily sing Happy Birthday to Sir Don Rogers, but that's all you're getting from me.
Go on then.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Don Rogers. Happy birthday to you.
Congratulations. Well done. Did you turn your chair around that time, Matt, or did you not bother with it?
I was just watching on intently. Beautiful.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed, all. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you very much. Brilliant. Thank you very much, guys. So that's all for tonight. We're back hopefully on the 15th, if the Crawley game goes ahead. Look out on social media. We are trying to fill in the gaps for the 1st and the 8th of February. November even. February, where did that come from? For November. So keep an eye out on social media. And we hope to see as many of you on Sunday down at the county ground, coming to the Legends Land first for a bit of family fun with the quizzes and face painting. And just one other thing, we have an advisory board meeting on the 7th of November. I know there's been a few questions put on the thread tonight regarding tannoy, turnstiles, and also Costa Confectionery. Can you please send them through in an email to the OSC so we can come back to you, but also we'll bring those up at the advisory board. So anything you do have for the advisory board, the email is admin at stfc-osc.com, or go onto the website and use the contact form on there. So anything like this, we will bring up at the advisory board. Okay, so that's all for tonight. As I say, look out on social media for anything for next week, and we will see you all soon. Bye.